Our other applicant is Alan Burmeister. Alan, can you stand up and give a little bit of history on yourself? Grew up in Alpharetta and worked for 12 years and here on 7 years.
Moving forward to the vote.
I'm actually wondering why I quit on.
We don't vote on these people or no?
Well, when we have an open seat, somebody resigns. The board has 30 days to appoint a new member. So, and then that person that is appointed is supposed to be replaced at the next biennial election. The next biennial election is next year, next November. And like I said, I don't know why my phone won't finish playing. I can't get it to unpause it. But what the vote was taken for Chance. Chance received 1 vote and 3 votes against.
The vote, board votes? Not the
yes. And then we had, it was a 3-to-1 vote, 3 yes, 1 no. I mean, 3 no's and 1 yes for Chance. And then we took a vote for Alan, and it was 3 votes yes, 1 vote no. The problem is with the vote, and what was brought up to me, the issue with the vote was that Chairman Cruy, former Chairman Cruy, former Director Cruy, was the majority vote on both of those votes. Chairman Cruy should have resigned in January when his appointment was up, but he overstayed his appointment and then just recently resigned. So it actually makes that vote null and void.
Okay, revote.
Wait a minute.
Now, how about
Wait a minute.
like the water, like, is it anything, any other decisions that he was on?
Could very well.
Like, because if he was, depending on when he was in office, or he
to answer your question, yes.
Okay, but my question.
Stay with the agenda, please.
To answer your question, yes.
Okay, so but my other question, kind of, I don't know, but when did he over? What month did he overstay his?
From January to
last month.
Okay, and when was the water bill raised?
Last year.
So this last water bill was raised like last month, right?
Yeah, but the vote and everything on that was last year.
Previous board.
It was last year.
Is that, when was the last one voted on? Do you have it or no offhand?
We don't. It was voted. No, I don't remember it actually offhand, but I know it was voted like last year.
Okay.
And the way the rate process works is the board votes to raise the rates in a resolution, and then we present that to the PRC. That's a long process. That's been going on now for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the PRC in the end of June approved those rates approved the 30% interim rate that was approved 2 years ago. They permanently approved it in June, and the interim approved and an additional 12% rate increase at that time at the end of June. So there was a 12% increase on your water rates in July. That and you saw that.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
you saw that 12% on your August 1st.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking in my head, if he wasn't, January to last month,
No, and that's
any decisions that were voted on.
we have actually been advised by the county clerk to do all the meetings over. And what we're doing is we're reviewing that and we're finding issues, so I believe we will have to.
Okay.
So we don't miss something in court.
Tony.
So unless I'm miscounting, and that possibly could be, I will admit that. So first of all, the rule is chairman or not. Chairman's by Robert's rules, which your bylaws say that you will follow, say chairman's only vote to break a tie. If you haven't looked that up, look it up. So Chairman Cruey at the time didn't have a vote unless it was a tie. And unless I'm doing the math wrong, which I might be, you did not have a tie. So his vote is null and void anyway. And then if I count that right, that means 2 for, 1 against Alan. So you're still legal, in my opinion.
It's actually a plurality. It's not a majority.
That means
That's
every
his
single vote
Robert's
he
rule.
was in on is illegal since then? It's gotta be recounted now?
Pardon me?
Every single vote that Curry was in on, it's gotta be recounted now?
If his vote was
We're
counted,
looking into it, come on.
if his vote was counted, he technically didn't have a vote unless it was a tie. So, but
We're looking into it, Joe. It's a lot of stuff to look into.
I know.
a simple majority 2 to 1, even if it's a plurality, it's still
A plurality is not a majority under Robert's Rules of Order.
Well, it doesn't matter there. Under New Mexico State rules, it is. You have 5 members. Regardless of how many are missing or how many cannot vote, you still have 5 members. So if a majority of that 5 members, regardless of 1 or 2 sitting over here, that either voted against or vote wasn't legal, you still have 2 to 1.
and a majority. I think
That's a majority.
majority in the law is a majority of the board.
And it may
Well, you
be
gotta
in
have it straight.
the bylaws that we follow Robert's rule, but Robert's rule is strictly a guideline. It is not a law, as everybody says it is, and the book says it is. It is not a law. It's a guideline to proper protocol. So you have a 2 to 1 vote.
He's still legal.
He's still legal.
That's what.
That's the end of the
I
discussion.
think he's still legal.
You just had a vote today, 2 to 1.
Yeah, I think he's still legal.
That's why this item was brought up.
Good.
Well,
I
It's all
think
about transparency.
Mr. Burmeister here needs to turn his damn mic on and join the conversation, unless he's loud like me.
well, that's just my.
One other point here is that after that appointment, Mark, you yourself
For you.
swore me in. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was brought up to me, and it was asked
Well,
me to.
it's been
So-
thoroughly discussed, and I don't think the board needs to re-vote on something that's already been done. So y'all, the 3 of you just need to look at him and say you were reinstated, sir, and do your job.
Yeah, we've never done this thing.
That's right.
I know.
Okay,
I think he's
so this agenda item was actually a discussion. There was no
there wasn't no
approve or disapprove on it. So
It has been discussed.
it's been discussed. If anybody else have anything else they'd like to say about it or bring up?
It's not legal, it's not legal.
Well, even see that's why we had this discussion. Even if Mr. Cruy should not have been on the board at that time. Alan still received a majority of votes of the board that was legally elected and appointed.
That's correct.
Is it true that he appointed himself to the board?
No.
No.
Hey, that's all I heard.
Well, you've been hearing absolutely incorrect information.
Okay.
No. Categorically, no, he did not approve
Yeah,
himself.
go ahead.
The board appointed
They
him.
won't like.
Who did?
The TWSD board of directors appointed him. Yeah.
There we go.
But
So
he
now you're
did,
gonna hire the other one that was affiliated with him too, right?
pardon me?
Now you're gonna appoint the other one that is affiliated with Truly too.
No, it's going to the 12th District Court to take care of it.
Actually,
It
yes,
has exceeded the 30 days.
yes, it has. When Dave Curry resigned, it was decided 2 meetings ago, regular board meetings ago, that we, because we screwed it up so bad, okay? And this, I mean, I'm being totally honest and transparent with you.
Good.
We screwed it up so bad that it was decided that even though at that time we still were within the 30 days to appoint Dave Curry's replacement, it was decided that it would be better for the board, for transparency's sake, to do what's right for the community and petition the 12th District Court judge to make that decision for us.
Thank you for telling us the truth.
And that petition is in progress right now. Our attorneys working.
That is an agenda item, sir.
Pardon me?
That is an agenda item. Number 1 under old business.
Yeah, getting at that. Getting to
Okay,
that.
so-
But she asked a question.
Well, yeah, shorten up the
I know,
answer.
Rick. Sometimes it's hard to.
I know, sir. I've been in your seat.
You know, it's hard to keep to the agenda, but I try.
I know you do.
Okay. All right. Moving on to agenda item number 2. Discuss approve regular meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? I have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Borzoni. Motion was made by Alan. All those in favor to approve the regular meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2024?
Yes.
Aye. Ayes have it, man. Okay, moving on to item number 3. Discuss approve the transfer of F&S funds to the general operating account. Well, we moved item number 8 up to 1, so everything's going to be one number off. One from here.
How much?
So for my F&S transfer, it's $7,340.93, and that's including purchases only, not work orders. I have to go down to work orders. There's a lot of them. So, I can get you the itemized list by Friday.
So how much are you wanting to transfer?
Just from the purchases alone, it's $7,340.93.
Now, I asked Ruby last Friday to give me a profit and loss statement for the last 4 months. And one of the things that she brought up to me is that the wages are seasonal wages. Those are wages that go toward the swimming pool.
She has been pulling them out of F&S, correct?
No. There actually hasn't been any. To be honest with you, I don't know where those wages are being paid from.
I have the,
But I can tell you that for May, which was 2 days in May that the pool was open. For all of June and all of July, there were no seasonal wages recorded in QuickBooks. So where did those lifeguards wages get paid from?
General operator, yes.
Well, that's actually what the PRC told us not to do. We're not supposed to be commingling funds.
You heard me say
So-
that I couldn't get in QuickBooks until last week.
Well, what about? Okay. All right. Well, this is going to come up a little bit further on, but you know, I'm seeing a whole lot right now for the past few months, a whole lot of commingling of funds. It's not supposed to be done. That's probably why, would be probably a good explanation why you had to transfer $23,000 or $20,000 on an FNS the other day to cover payroll.
You're talking to the wrong guy because someone else is doing all the transfers and I had no control over that like I should have, but I was told by that person that I had to answer to him.
What person is it?
And
Pardon me?
he gave me, please,
Pardon me?
the former admin assistant.
No, he's not authorized.
No.
I know how the process works.
I'm telling you what he told me, and I have witnesses when he did it. And he was transferring the money himself. I signed on the transfer fees or the
Correct.
transfer, but he was
You
taking the
and
amount.
the general manager are actually the ones that are authorizing him to transfer those funds.
But he was doing them himself.
Without a transfer form?
The books are screwed.
What?
I keep telling you, they're in horrible shape.
Clark,
At that point, do you have any idea how things got screwed up here? I do.
yeah, I do.
I talked to the accountant. She told me what she thought. I can't go into it here. What I mean, we got an accountant.
One transfer.
Well, actually, we can't go into it. It's public information.
Yeah. One bank account. Yes.
It's public information.
Yes.
If you'd like to put it out there, if you'd like to
Two funds is in the budget.
elaborate,
Well, I'll give you an example.
go for it.
We were talking about purchasing equipment that we needed desperately for the water system, the leak detector and a couple of things. And we talked about taking money out of the emergency fund because the board voted at that time that, that constituted an emergency. We need to get that equipment and put it to work. And Brad Howard was sitting back there in the back and he jumped up and said, "We can't do that." He said, "That's not an emergency." He said, "But there is no set list of what constitutes an emergency." So the board voted on it right then. It was on the agenda. He said, "We feel that this is an emergency and we need to approve it." And we did. He went out front after the meeting, confronted Mr. Curry, myself, and the general manager, screaming in our face that we were required to go to him to any transfers of funds, any spending of funds, that we had to give him advice and consent, and that we didn't do anything without his approval.
Oh, that's wrong.
That doesn't make sense. I know. But he's part of the problem with the books being screwed up. I didn't have access.
That 20,000 at the meeting back in February or March for the pool, because I was part of that pool committee, and you guys had already put money aside for that. So was this above that money, that 20,000 plus?
I can't explain everything he did. I know I would go in there and we have the form already filled out, transfer funds. And I'd say, "Well, Brad, this is more than this." "No, but I need the wiggle room in here. I need this money in that account." And he was always doing that. And so we put a stop to it finally. there was also, when I was signing checks, there was supposed to be an invoice attached to the pay stub to explain what it was for. Most of them didn't have it, and I said, well, what's this for, Brad? And he said, well, that's for, like Ray Reynolds. I said, well, I looked at Ray's contract and it said if he put in for mileage and for other expenses, he had to have an invoice attached to his.
So, okay, wait, you're saying somebody named Brad. Aren't you the head of the board?
No, I'm the vice chairman.
So Brad got fired. Wow. When was Brad fired? Because June.
Beginning of July.
Oh, I remember that guy. Yes, I do remember. Okay, so, holy cow, y'all have a problem.
And you only had access to your QuickBooks a week ago, is that what you were saying?
Yes,
And you're the treasurer.
yes,
How long have you been treasurer?
March.
Okay, so, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Guard that
How come you didn't
account
have
is locked.
Let's get into it.
How come you didn't talk to Ruth?
I did.
And she
Okay.
had done that in March? Did she say, I can't do it in March? She told you that.
Yes.
Okay.
FNS with the
Where was
wages
that
that
gavel?
actually added all the wages up since May. To exclude Travis's because it's already coded. That's the wages. The life
I didn't take it out.
$13,970.93.
13,900.
13,970.
Wages.
Wages was 6630.
Well, sounds like 14.
It was
And then you have-
6630 on top of that FNS transfer of 7,000.
And then you have 7343 for
No,
supplies.
7340.93
For
for purchases. Chemicals, test kit, testing stuff, everything for the pool.
Well, I'm seeing it right now. You have $15,700 some dollars in the FNS account, and you need to actually transfer a little over 21,000. So
Why do
Don't
we have
see
to,
how-
why do we have to
between-
transfer over 20?
between your wages and your purchases comes out to about 21,000 and change.
Just 13.
If you add your purchases and your wages,
Right.
Okay, she has it in a total. She has a
okay,
6,
you said wait, 13,000 wages.
Okay, she has.
I'm sorry, I had the wages and the purchases too.
She combined it.
So you actually need to
Here,
transfer.
can you hand that?
You actually need to transfer then $13,973.
Correct.
I think you're 14.
In which we have to pay some of that back, correct? To FNS, for the transfers earlier.
Are we still on the agenda?
Yep,
New gen strategies?
we haven't got that far yet, Dave.
Okay, well, I put in a request to speak and I'd like to speak on
We
this.
haven't got that far yet, Dave.
Well, is that the agenda item we're on?
No,
What agenda item we're on?
FNS.
there's three.
Transfer
Okay.
F and S?
We have not gotten to that agenda item yet.
Okay.
What is dinner?
Make a motion.
Okay. So I need an amount
What,
for what you're needing to transfer. I can't just be guessing at it. You gotta give me an amount.
14.
what did we transfer and to pay the insurance? I can't remember.
25,000.
Was it the FNS, out of the FNS fund?
Yes. So it's 25,000, so we can make payroll, and we can keep our insurance in effect, and some other.
Is that typically where it
Come on
comes
back.
out of?
No,
What account should it have come out of?
general operating fund.
So we're that much short then.
We're not now, but at the time we were, this had to be done that day. So I transferred that money, knowing that we could go back later when that general fund built back up and took the money back into M&S.
Is what he just described, is that a violation of bylaws or not?
I'd like to just make one comment for the general manager and the treasurer. Y'all knew that this agenda was going to be this agenda since Friday. Is there any damn reason why y'all couldn't have had these numbers together before today?
Yes, because I thought this was already the payroll was already coming out of FNS.
Well,
that's what I thought, and that's why our numbers are.
You know, I'll be totally honest with y'all. When it gets to this point, I start seeing all kinds of signs of bullshit.
Yep, yes.
And I don't see, excuses are like a-holes. Everybody has one. And quite honestly, I don't deal with excuses. And I don't deal with bullshit. We're working. That's coming. That's a coming agenda item.
Backing up 2 years ago, maybe you never should have fired the general manager, and you would have never been in this problem.
Okay.
Just so you know, everybody on the board under investigation.
You know decisions. That's what probably you
because when you take off the head of any organization,
where's the gavel?
Actually, we didn't remove the general manager 2 years ago. He quit.
So now we're going to have properties for sale.
Well, then announce it at your own meeting. Fine.
I would like to ask why there was a meeting at your house with the board with the other board member last night.
So
there was a big.
There was not a board meeting at my house. No. No. Okay.
Y'all hiring?
Okay, moving on. I still don't have an amount.
14,000 was my tally on what the general manager's saying.
Yeah, but it's really nice when we see it written out.
I understand that, ma'am, but
no, I don't think you understand what's going on.
I don't understand completely. I'm trying to investigate on my own. Okay. However, though, the general manager needs 14,000 to take care of business. Okay. So when do you need to make a motion for 14,000?
That's fixing to do that.
I'd like to make a motion that we transfer 14,000 out of FNS into the general operating fund to pay for the supplies
I have a motion that the board approve the transfer of FNS fees to the general operating account for $14,000. Do I have a second on that motion? Second. And we have a second from Burmeister. All those in favor? Aye.
I'm abstaining on that one.
Aye.
Three and abstain. Ayes have it.
Ayes have it. Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 4, which
is actually
item 3. Discuss approved payment plan for unpaid invoices to New Gym Strategies and to the Rhodey Law Firm. And I'm just going to make a short little statement on this because I got a phone call from our attorney this morning that board approval is not actually required to approve this agenda item. The board of directors has approved in the past retainer agreements with the Rhodey Law Firm. Per those retainer agreements, we are required to pay them. just like we were required to pay you, just like we're required to pay anybody that sends us an invoice. That being said, if we don't make a sizable payment to the Rhodey Law Firm for all the work that they have done for us in regards to the PRC, our rate increase, I could go and I'm going to give you a list of items that they have done for us in the past, what the Rhodey Law Firm does for us. The Rhodey Law Firm does all our labor and union related law. They answer all our formal complaints with the New Mexico PRC, and they've had successful outcomes every time on those formal complaints. They answer formal complaints filed with the Attorney General, and they've had successful outcomes on all of those complaints. They also were successful in the dismissal of a $500,000 lawsuit against TWSD. They're currently representing us on a second lawsuit related to the first lawsuit. That's somewhere in New Mexico court limbo.
What's that lawsuit about?
Getting on the first one, so that's-
I have to be really careful how I say this to you because it would violate attorney-client privilege, but the district was sued 12 years ago by a property owner. That lawsuit was dismissed. That same property owner filed another lawsuit, and it's still pending in legal limbo. But more than likely, it's going to be dismissed also.
What's that about? The opposing party.
It doesn't
cannot
matter.
tell
It
you.
does not matter, Spanky. It does not matter if it's under litigation in the courts. Spanky and the entire board and anybody else affiliated with it cannot talk about it in depth.
But
You get to know that there's a lawsuit out there, and that's basically it.
You talking to me?
you could
No, I'm talking to the board.
You could probably ask any of our longer term residents up here, and they could probably tell you who it is.
I know who it is. Yes. Wayne Beagle.
Well,
Is it a dog?
anyway,
Wayne Beagle.
in addition to those lawsuit litigations, the Rhodey Law Firm also came up with a foreclosure policy for TWSD to foreclose on liens for outstanding water fees.
Okay, here's my question.
Dave, I'm not finished.
Well, I am.
Dave, I'm not finished.
How much do we know? How much do
Dave.
we owe Roger?
Dave,
How much do we owe?
I'm
him?
getting to that, Dave. Please sit
Well,
down.
that's never been
I'm
disclosed.
still talking, Dave.
We owe
sit
over
down.
$100,000,
That's correct.
and we haven't paid on that
Sit
bill.
down.
And they have a demand letter against us for $114,000.
Sit down, Dave.
And my
I'm
question
getting
is,
to
why
that.
hasn't this been paid in the past?
I'm getting to that, Dave. You're not chairman.
Well,
You're resident,
I'm a
correct, but
community
you're also out of order.
Well, count me out of order.
Okay. Yeah, and they're also in the process of petitioning the 12th District Court to replace an open board seat. And where we're at right now with the Rhodey Law Firm is they have made a demand for payment. By the end of the week, if we don't make a very substantial payment to them, we will lose our legal representation. And more than likely, if we lose their representation and they sue us, which is the next thing they're going to do, okay, we will not be able to hire any attorney in the state of New Mexico, and they will make sure of that.
How much do they?
I believe it's up to about $114,000, and New Gen's fees are over New Gen Strategies, which is, so you probably don't, New Gen Strategies is the company that did our cost of service study that was ordered by the PRC for our rate increase, and did our financial plan and a bunch of other stuff for the rate increase.
How long have we known about the $114,000 bill?
Well, originally, Dave, at the end of, or at the beginning of May, it was 25,000. And then at the end of May, it was another 25,000. In June, it was 25,000. In July, it was another 25-some thousand dollars. So for 4 months, it's gone up about 25,000 or so dollars every month.
Is this for action being taken by them, or is this past billings that weren't paid?
No, it's for work that they have done for those months. They haven't been paid for 4 months. I've been on the board for 4 months to get this taken care of. And I would have taken care of it earlier, but I was removed from signature authority to make these payments by you and Ed Hardesty.
Do we have the money to pay $114,000?
We absolutely do.
And where's it coming from?
It would either have to come from the emergency fund, or it would have to come out of part of the USDA fund, which we can do because we have more in that account than what is required.
So we've been told we
So
can't touch the
what
emergency fund, but now
what the treasurer needs to do, along with the general manager, is tomorrow they need to figure out how much they can pay these attorneys and New Gen, and they need to do it tomorrow.
So we didn't make any
Period.
payments for 4 months
Correct.
on this account.
Correct.
How are you gonna pay next month?
As the treasurer.
Well, they're
What financial benefit do we have by paying an attorney $25,000 a month? How is that?
well. I'll tell you. When we originally applied to the PRC for our 30% rate increase, the district was on the verge of bankruptcy.
Okay, but is that 30% rate increase worth $25,000 a month?
Well,
Going to keep it out
it kept the water district running, and it's going to keep it running into the future. So you tell me.
Okay, well, we got the rate increase, so I understand the lawsuit part of it, but at what point, at the $25,000 a month retainer?
It's not a $25,000 a month retainer.
But wait,
They bill us for hours that they do each month. So they might bill us. Some months they don't bill us anything. But the PRC.
but over 4 months, it's $100,000.
Yeah, and they've done a crap load of work with the PRC. I mean, their invoices are like that thick. You know, and they charge by the hour.
And I'm curious why they haven't been paid for 4 months. I am curious.
Who made the calls and were they?
Well,
Thank you. You cannot make up an excuse for that, okay?
No.
Thank you.
How many more months are we going to?
Tell me those people aren't there anymore.
Tell you what,
I said, please tell us that those people are not involved with this anymore.
I wish I could.
They are.
Oh.
So we're gonna get charged next
What
month.
good is this doing us then? They're still in there with their and everything, but seriously.
Was the legal
Well,
work,
that's
was
a
the legal work,
agenda item coming up here shortly.
was the legal work requested approved by the board?
Yes, it was, Dave. 2 years ago, actually.
So it's been owed for 2 years?
Pardon me?
It's been owed for 2 years?
No, their retainer agreement. They made several different retainer agreements. Every time that they do something different for us, like foreclosure policy, there's a retainer agreement for that. When they do union negotiations, there's a retainer agreement for that. When they do PRC representation for us, which they've been doing for the last 2 years.
Does the whole board talk to the attorney? Who talks to the attorney?
The chairman or whoever's chairman or the board appoints to
So the board appointed someone to just them talk to an attorney?
yep.
Are they recording it? The hours or minutes, so they make sure we're not getting overbilled?
Oh yeah, they do. Trust me, they record it down to the minute. Yeah, they're very efficient at their billing.
I'd just like to make a comment that if we don't pay this, we lose this representation. We could lose this lawsuit. The legal has started.
Yep, we could lose that lawsuit. We also, we have them also investigating, the possible transfer of the golf course to TDC also. So we're gonna lose our representation for everything.
Is there a possibility we can countersue the Eagles for damages?
I wish.
Yes.
Tony.
Simple for me here. Our legal counsel has advised the board that you don't need a board vote to pay a bill that you've already gone into contract with. I agree with that. You guys just need to pay the daggone bills.
Just needs to be
However,
paid.
it
I've
has
been
to happen
asking
to make it work.
I've been asking
You gotta pay the
the
bills.
manager and the treasurer for 4 months
You gotta pay the
to
bills.
pay this. And every month it's gotten bigger and bigger and
When did
bigger.
the treasurer find out about these bills, and has he known about all of the bills? Have you known about all the bills since you became treasurer?
I have signed checks to the Rhodey Law Firm.
That wasn't the
last
question.
I have four. I have signed checks to the Rhodey Law Firm. I think one was for $40,000, and there's been some other smaller ones for less than $10,000. So they have been getting paid within the last 4 months. That's inaccurate. They say they haven't been, but their bills keep. I mean, every time you get them on the phone, you're going to pay $2,000 or $3,000.
But I thought you just got QuickBooks a week ago.
What's that? What?
I said, I thought you got QuickBooks a week ago, but you're writing out checks, but you're not divvying it up where it goes.
I signed checks. I didn't make them. I signed them. The previous administrative assistant wrote the checks out. I signed them. Does that make sense?
No.
What don't you understand?
Sign a check, it's the same as writing.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not.
You would think so. It's not. I knew what I was
Okay.
saying.
So the checks that have been going to Brody Law Firm, have they deposited those checks for you?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know.
Because it seems like if the total accounting was $1,440,000,
Yeah, you could live on your bank
you guys have
statement.
been saying
That's
that the check
I know.
for $40,000 and a check for $10,000, that sum should be at $54,000. The original balance.
They've been fulfilling their part of the bargain all along, and those charges keep adding up. We've been paying a little bit all along, not to outpace the charges that are adding up.
So the checks that got sent off, do you have a way to see if they've been deposited on their behalf?
Go to the
Yeah,
bank.
it would be on the bank statement.
Thanks, David.
Oh, this is bounce after the payment happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can check them online.
Clark.
After you get them paid off, does that mean they're still on the retainer?
Yeah.
Agreement?
Yes.
And I might add also too, that the next time that we do a rate increase, we can't do it this time because the law doesn't allow us to recoup costs associated with applying for a rate increase. But when we apply for another or next rate increase, we can ask the PRC to approve adding these rate case related costs that we incurred at this time in our next rate increase. So these fees to New Gen and the attorney, we can actually it'll increase
Another rate,
later.
yeah.
Well,
You're planning on another rate increase?
in about 2 years, yeah. We have to.
Then whose mistakes are we paying for? Because that's all, I've been here for 6 years and all I've been paying for is other people's mistakes.
Yeah, no, the thing is, we never kept up with, rate increases, we went years and years. And what happened is, it came to the point where we didn't have the money for the water department. And that's when fees and services came into play, because that really bailed the district out. Well, instead of taking your money for your assets and things like that, what we did was we applied for the water rate increase so that the water rate increase would cover the water, because I've been up here 15 years and had, I believe, one increase. That is not sustainable.
We actually had.
But we're paying a lot of money
Yeah.
for water, we really are.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Because
No
I
doubt.
live alone and I got a bill that was $147 for
Yeah.
1 month.
It's higher, yes.
I was like, what? And it's just me.
Over
No, it's not just you.
over a 30-year period, TWSD, actually over 30 years, TWSD only received
2%.
well, they did like 2% here and there, but it was a 16% rate increase over a 30-year period, and it was just not enough income, not enough revenue to maintain the system. And you all know what kind of condition the system is in. You know, so it's expensive to maintain the water system here, and it's all this water system is also being maintained by about 4.5 people per mile are paying to maintain the system. If you look at Alamogordo or Albuquerque's water system, they have 95 customers per mile maintaining their water system. So that's why their rates can be lower than what our rates are. It just takes a lot more money to operate and maintain and repair the system.
Alamogordo just doubled their bill.
If the water department would help out the residents that live here, when there's a resident has problems with their plumbing and they don't know it, and the water department lets that thing just, they know that it's going up, because you can see that the price is going up every month. So water's leaking somewhere.
And usually we can,
for months.
a lot of times, our water operators, especially when they're out reading the meters, they'll notice that people have water leaks. And a lot of times, if you're not there, they'll shut your water off so it doesn't keep flowing out.
No, I understand that, and I'm glad for that. I'm glad that I found that out.
That's all we can do.
Instead of letting, but what I'm saying is that it could have been, all that water could have been, the loss of all that water could have been eliminated if there was more communication between the water department and the residents.
Or the residents of the water department. Too.
Or the residents, yeah, true.
Very true. Yeah. Okay.
Move on.
So,
Can I add something?
sure, Ed.
Back in March,
Sorry.
Jim, go ahead.
Yeah. I understand we're gonna take it out of the emergency fund, pay, we have to pay this stuff. But you have to place to pay for that, or the month after that, or if a fire breaks out tomorrow, you have a plan in place if we.
There's actually, the state of New Mexico Environment Department actually has an emergency fund that if we needed it, we could go to them. Any water district. Well, I don't know if it's a water emergency. Yeah. But I mean, if you're talking about a fire, that's not something we do anyway. You know, that's the fire department. That's Tony's job.
No, I meant like if it were storing like major systems, like the council always talk about, if there was something to wipe out stuff like that.
The New Mexico Environment Department has an emergency fund that the district can go to in case of emergencies if it's needed. Yes, they do.
So for paying the bill
Yeah, I think we should eventually put that money back into the emergency fund. We should replace that fund.
Do you have any idea where that money?
It would come out of our operating fund. We're
I'd like
working
to
on it.
finish my comment first, though. She had her hand up already. What I started saying was, I was appointed to the board back in December of 23. And in March of 24, Director Berzoni unceremoniously came in and said, I'm done, I quit, I'm not the treasurer anymore. They put it on the agenda, I think the next meeting, to appoint a new treasurer. And it got dumped on me because I was a new guy on the board. I don't know anything about being a treasurer. I've never been a treasurer. I'm not an accountant. I'm okay balancing my checkbook, and that's about it. I made no secret about that. Well, I'm getting snarky comments from over here saying the treasurer should have done this or treasurer should have done that. My hands were tied. I could not get into QuickBooks. I tried. I couldn't get into it until last week. This problem didn't start with me becoming treasurer back in March. It was a disaster when I took over.
Before that even.
What?
Before that even.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to get out of taking responsibility for our books, but I'm telling you, it didn't start with me becoming treasurer. This happened a long time ago. And I know that because the accountant, Ruby, that I talked to, when I first became treasurer, told me at that time, these books are in a horrible shape. We're trying to reconcile them, and they're just getting further and further behind. And I do have something, one of the agenda items coming up that I wanted to discuss with everybody. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Ira.
How much money do we bring in from metered water every month?
Metered water last month was about, or the August 1st billing was, I believe about 59,000. That doesn't include trash fees. That also doesn't include reconnects, disconnects, installs, things like that. So, yeah, I mean it varies from month to month, Arden, but it's actually it's around 65, 70, 75,000 a month. Give or take.
Do we have a working budget?
Yes.
That shows that money coming in, where, how much is spent on what?
Yeah, and our, there's always like money that's owed in arrears. It's also coming in. That doesn't include standby fees that are paid throughout the year. So standby fees. And Nan could probably answer this better than me because she's done the billing for so many years. Nan could probably tell you actually a little bit closer to what we actually.
About 10 to 20,000 back standby.
Yeah, so it's about $75,000 to $80,000 a month, just on water fees that we collect, give or take 5,000 or so. Okay, Ed, anything else? Alan, do you have anything else?
Just catch it.
Okay, so this payment will somewhat be taken care of tomorrow. It should be.
That's going to be on you because I'm out of town now.
Well, that's fine. We were going to review next item, number 5, which was number 4. We were going to review some applicants for the administrative assistant job opening that we have.
I believe there's only 2 applications.
We have two resumes, and I had the manager redact their personal information off of it, so that.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Why is the board even discussing and looking at applications for a job that they are not required, responsible, but per our own rules and regulations, that the general manager should be doing.
That's
She
correct.
should be the one that's doing.
That's
Should-
correct.
We've asked her to do
General
it.
manager should be running day-to-day activities.
We've asked her to do it, Dave. I've asked her for a month
And I think she.
to
Then
hire
tell her.
somebody.
She already has a
Give her
qualified
the
applicant that she wants
resumes
to hire.
and tell her.
Does
Rick,
she not
I
have
have.
somebody that she wants to hire right now?
I have asked her.
She has somebody she wants to hire.
How do you know, Dave?
Because
Are you
Because I
out
told him.
sure?
Because I told him
Well, okay. When did you tell him?
after,
Is Dave still a board member?
after I
How are we gonna pay him? We don't pay the attorney
got to finish.
Yeah.
I sat in with the general manager and the building clerk and interviewed this one we're looking at right here. That is the one that the general manager wanted to hire. She told me that Spanky told her, no, he's gonna tell her who to hire. He's bringing someone in tomorrow.
I'm not. Okay, go ahead.
So, but Rick, to your point, you're right. It's the general manager's job. I agree. I don't know why that was even on the agenda.
How are we gonna pay this person and what they?
Well, we actually need an administrative assistant.
Oh,
here.
no, I'm sure we do.
We do.
But
I mean, we need a
We're
qualified.
gonna pay $100,000 tomorrow and probably another 25,000 the next, and the next. I just don't know how we can afford it.
Well, first of all,
I'm gonna say we don't need it. but
okay,
I
understand. First of all, we're not paying the salary of the one that was recently let go. This applicant said that she would agree to work 20 hours a week to start, which would also help cut down the cost. And I think she's a perfect fit for the job. I think she would do great.
How many hours did the previous person work?
We put it 40 hours a week.
It's actually can be a full-time job.
Does that job include grant writing?
Pardon me?
The administrative assistant or whatever that position includes grant writing?
We asked her about that. She's never done it. But the one that was hired to be a grant writer only did it once.
In my opinion,
so-
grant writers will support the job in the building.
I would think so.
So I actually,
She also agreed to attend any kind of training for grant writing or anything else that would
We're
help.
in some reposts. You need to know it right away.
what I know, and we're working on it. All I can say, we're working on it. You know, I work on it every day. This person here, this is the one.
Yes,
Okay, this is the reason why I wanted to review this. This person has absolutely no administrative qualifications. She's a physical therapist.
no, she's not.
Wait. And I know how to read, God's sake. Where is her administrative experience at?
Are you both looking at the same application?
Yeah, I believe
I
so.
believe so.
She's got a Bachelor of Science degree in kinesiology and a minor in sports medicine.
During the interview, we talked about that. She said that her experience in administrative work in the medical field could be applied to our administrative work.
Administrative work can be applied to anything. It doesn't matter what the field is.
I agree.
And I actually got an email from a local, and both these people don't even live in Timberon.
She does.
Or one of them does. The one that you're talking about here, that Renee's wanting to hire, lives in Silver City.
No, she doesn't. She lives here on Washita.
Okay. Wow. Anyway, I actually got an email from another gal up here that actually is a retired administrative assistant. And she lives here. And she's a retired administrative assistant from the Albuquerque Police Department.
Has she put in a resume?
She's gonna put one in tomorrow.
Okay, then why are we even discussing this? Turn it back over to the general manager.
Because the manager wanted to hire this person the other day, and it was like, seriously?
It's the manager's prerogative, it's in her.
Actually, it's the board's.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
If you-
The only one that the board has any control over is the general manager themselves. That's it. Everybody below the general manager belongs to the general manager.
That comment is statement here, please. He's talking about the New Mexico law that said that to hire and retain agents, employees, engineers, and attorneys. That's the justification he has.
73-21-16.
General powers, correct?
Yeah.
General powers.
Yes, but you also need to be looking at the person.
Rick, let me finish.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so also under the general powers, the board has, or the district has the right to sue and be sued and to be a party to suits, actions, and proceedings. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
So these attorneys you hired, did you argue in court?
I didn't hire them.
The board did.
Yes.
So did the board argue in court or did the attorneys?
What's your point?
My point is, you're saying because this says employees that you can hire all the rank and file. That's not what the employee handbook says. It says that it's at the sole discretion of the general manager.
You do realize that New Mexico state statutes supersede any bylaws or policies, correct?
Yes.
So if the attorneys argue in court or boards, then they're violating state law. That's your logic. Yes, it is.
What I'm saying is, bottom line is, I want to get somebody in here that's qualified, for God's sake.
But it's not your job.
That's not your job.
I don't want to get in. That's why I don't even know who these people are. I don't know who they are. I want to get.
There's one person that applied that used to work here before. We're going backwards, not forwards. We need to be getting new people in these positions. Quit doing the stuff with the old people.
Exactly.
We also need to be looking at people that get along with the people that are already here. And I can tell you, the general manager and the town clerk don't like it.
The personnel management book that is in the office, and I have a copy at home, gives the power to the general manager, not the board.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Okay? Then why are we even discussing any of this?
Let the manager do her job.
Because I would like to get, and I think everybody here would like to get.
I don't care.
Do you want to get somebody in here that doesn't?
No, I want the general manager to do her job.
Well, I would too.
And pick the qualified person.
I would
That's
too.
part of the reason that general managers hired.
I would too.
Okay? So why is the board discussing this?
Correct.
It's not an agenda item.
Because she was asked to do this.
I don't care how many. I don't care how many times she was asked.
We're in the dilemma that we are.
I don't
Because
care.
it's been put off for over a month.
I don't care how long it's been put off. How many times she's been told. That's part of her job.
And she hasn't done it.
Well, you need to address that with her in a closed session.
I have.
In a closed session?
In a closed door session?
I've done.
It's a personnel issue that needs to be handled by the board in a closed session and under a quorum. This is an open session of you
know, Tony, bottom line,
the manager. It's not supposed to be this way, Spanky. It's not.
I know, but bottom line, Tony, this issue that we're in with QuickBooks right now has gotten tremendously worse in the last month.
Don't disagree.
And we can't keep going on without getting somebody in here that's qualified.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
Okay, but it's still the general manager's responsibility. Okay,
so it's just a personal
where's the
issue.
job description for this position?
Why is it that QuickBooks couldn't be gotten into? That's what I wanna know. Who closed it where we couldn't get into it? Where the people that needed to get into it couldn't get into it? What happened?
Actually, you can get into it.
No,
It did.
he couldn't get into it.
Yeah, a week ago.
And he's been
Ask
trying for
him.
3
I don't
weeks.
know why he couldn't get into it.
Okay. No.
Ask him.
We did.
Why couldn't you get into it before, Ed?
We couldn't get into it.
Who was the last person to use QuickBooks that closed it out where he couldn't get into it? That's what we need to know.
Ruby couldn't get you in QuickBooks? I don't believe that.
I do.
Well,
I do.
How did you end up getting into it anyway?
Yeah, what happened?
Have you got a valid contract with Granite Mountain yet?
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
I do want to address that on another agenda item.
Let's
Okay.
move on. then.
Let's move on because this agenda item has no validity.
Okay, moving on.
But to be clear, that one was the one that the general manager wanted to hire, and I told her, I said, yeah, I'll go ahead and call her and offer the job. Now, and she said, well, Frankie told me no.
I didn't tell her no. I said, Renee, there's going to be another gal coming in tomorrow that actually has experience as an administrative assistant. You may want to see her resume first before you make a decision. I didn't tell her. Would you like me to bring up the email where I emailed her and said she has the authority? I have it right here. Yeah, and I also have the emails where when I asked you for reports, you responded no.
I don't answer you. Who do you think you are? You're one voting member on this board. That's it.
All right, gentlemen. Let's move on.
Number 6. I'm so sorry. I feel bad. Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to get along. I'm trying to get things done. I'm trying to get this mess fixed.
Let's move on.
But I'm not getting a whole lot of help doing it.
Let's move on.
That was horrible.
Okay. Now,
Sir,
moving on to an item.
sir, may I make a comment, please?
Sure.
Okay, we're not here year round, but we did come in this year.
Mhm.
But I don't know if it has anything to do that you have anything to do with hiring or not hiring. But we would like and appreciate if you get somebody that's qualified in the work they're gonna do and an attitude. You do not want to go to the water department and get your head chopped off. No.
Okay.
So please take that into consideration for all of us.
Absolutely.
Explain.
Yes, sir.
You gotta figure out whether you want you to be the manager or you want Renee to be manager.
Thank you.
I don't want to. Trust me, I do not want to be the manager.
Move on.
If she's the manager,
Thank you. Then let her do
she
her
gets to
job.
hire people.
That's right. Let her
I'm
do her
trying.
job.
Around next and tell
Let her
her
do her
what
job.
we're gonna hire.
I'm not trying to
I
hide
on the agenda
She's
is
got
what
her
I'm
in
trying
the
to get
office.
to.
You
Steve.
gotta go home.
I have gone home.
Let her do her
Let her
job.
do her job. If she
I
fails,
do.
then we can fire her.
All
She's
right,
got a secret
move
service at
on.
home.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Where's the gavel?
Manager's office. Okay, moving on. Item number 6, which was item number 5 before. Discuss, approve, disapprove payment to Beasley Mitchell CPA for the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit.
We've been talking about that since May, Spanky.
Correct.
How much is the audit?
I believe their invoice was around between $10,000 and $11,000. I don't remember. That's for our annual audit. We have to conduct an annual audit by state law. We received this invoice back in beginning of June, I believe.
We have to pay them up front or after the job's done?
Up front. That's basically a retainer agreement. This audit is required by state law. It should have been started already. It's going to cause our audit to be late again.
But
The books are such a mess, how are we gonna audit this?
Same way we did last time.
Still has to be done.
Well, Dave, last year we were audited and we turned out pretty good. And if you'd like to read that audit, it's on our website. So, I don't know. I don't know why this hasn't been taken care of yet. But it needs to be paid.
Then pay it.
Craig, you have a question.
Doesn't have to be approved.
Craig, you have a question. This is already this is something that the board's already voted on to retain this company to do the audit. You have nothing to vote on. You just need to pay your bill. You're already in the contract. Correct? And it doesn't need to even be on the damn agenda. It's the same thing as the law firm. You're already in
Well, but
contract.
this is called transparency.
Yes,
Now
that's
you
right.
understand-
But
now you understand.
discuss and
We
approve
asked-
is
we
not
asked
transparency.
board members to pay bills.
It's nothing
Board
to,
members
yeah, but it's
don't
nothing
pay
to vote on.
bills.
You report
Y'all
that
need to
this
know that.
particular invoice
Okay.
is $10,000 or $11,000 and it was paid. End of discussion. You're already involved in a contract. There's nothing to
It's not actually
approve.
a contract, Rick, till they receive payment.
It doesn't matter. You are required by the state annually to get an audit done. And whatever that auditor you get is going to charge somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000.
Yeah, and it'll probably, up front
Okay.
they're going to say 10.
It doesn't matter. You put the money aside because that money's going to
We're
come
not
to.
talking about that. We're talking about making a payment to them. We've been asking.
That's something that
We have
you
been
and the general
asking
manager,
since
the
May.
treasurer and the general manager get a hold of them, see if you can make payment
But
to
they
them.
don't do it.
Oh my God.
We've been asking. since
That's
May.
internal now.
I'm tired of your comments.
You all are wasting my time.
Exactly.
Move on. This subject.
Move on. This is a non-item on the agenda.
Let's move on.
All right. So,
They're trying
is this
to.
going to be taken care of then?
I'll talk to the general manager and.
Please do.
See what the invoice we have an
Please
invoice.
do.
I'll look into it.
Please do. Thank you.
Okay, so you heard it.
Oh,
Good.
Yeah.
All right. No. And that's with yours too. Okay. Agenda item number 8. Discuss and approve hiring an investigative accountant to look into the books. This is actually a redundant item. I don't
What about
know.
7?
That's the one he just listed off.
That's one we just did. This is actually a redundant item because
No.
investigative
Qualified CPA firm.
Beasley Mitchell. Okay, wait, you're actually right. I skipped an item. I'm sorry.
Number 7.
Moving back. Number 7.
6 on the list.
6. Discuss and approve the temporary hiring of qualified CPA firm to correct errors and update TWSD QuickBooks accounting.
Chairman.
Sure.
Yeah, this is something we've been talking about because the books are in such a horrible mess. But then, as Spanky pointed out, that Beasley Mitchell will be doing the audit. And while we were checking into it, I was checking into it. I talked to 3 different CPAs, one in El Paso, one in Las Cruces, and my CPA in Tularosa. What are we talking about?
Fixing QuickBooks.
I thought okay, that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about the temporary hiring of qualified CPA. Okay, so I'm saying I talked to 3 different CPAs, and 2 of them said minimum $5,000 to start. My CPA said he didn't want to do it, but he said it would cost. He would charge $10,000 to start. And if there were any irregularities that needed a forensic CPA to look into it, that's something you can find out after the initial audit's done. But I also talked to Granite Mountain, who is our accounting firm, and they do have a forensic CPA that works for them. But everyone that I talked to said, they gave me ballpark estimates, but they said we're stretched thin and we can't do it. So Spanky said that Deasley Mitchell, we're gonna be doing the audit anyway. So I went back and talked to the owner of Granite Mountain, and he wants to put together a proposal for us. He said he couldn't do it by tonight's meeting, but he could have it ready for us by next meeting. And what the proposal was for Granite Mountain to totally do all of our books, all of our accounting, all of our bookkeeping, everything. They would write all the checks, keep track of everything, and they would do this twice a month, provide us with updated reports for the treasurer to give to the board, to the audience, or once a month, twice a month, whatever we want. Some of the pros and cons, having it there would be off-site. They would do everything, and there would be what?
You do realize what you're doing requires to go out to the public. There's
RSP.
RSP or whatever. RSP has to go out to the public per protocol, finance and all the other laws, rules, regulations. What you need to do, Ed, is put together the hit list of what you want this firm to do for you, how many times a month you want them to do it, and then they send the proposals to you, and you advise the board on the best deal.
That's kind of okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay. We can do that, but I'm just throwing it out there. There's nothing to vote on tonight. I'm just throwing it out there that I think that's a good route to go down the road. One of the other positive things about it was treasurers come and go, board members come and go, but that stays the same. It's all the same.
Yes, sir.
It won't be like me back in March. You come to my lap, I have no clue what anything is. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't happen with them. So I'm just wanted to throw that out there.
I, for one, think you're doing a hell of a job.
So how are we gonna?
Oh, the other thing they said about this, if they did it, since they own the QuickBooks and they have our accounts, our vendors, and everything already, they said that they could zero out everything, clean it all up, and go start from zero with the bank accounts, the QuickBooks, and get everything back on track.
Okay.
So,
like I say, the other one, like I say, it needs to go out per protocol, and then you sit down and you select, as the board, the best deal. Best deal may not be the cheapest deal.
Well, I get the whole RFP thing, right? And problem I have right now, and this is the pressing problem that we have right now, is we need to get somebody in here a month ago.
Yes, sir.
These QuickBooks.
I don't disagree.
And
but you're going to violate the law.
Every day that it goes on further and further, it's going to get worse and worse.
I don't disagree, but you don't want to violate the law.
Well, would it be a violation of the law if I know a retired CPA that lives up here that would do it for free?
Oh.
No, because they're doing it for free.
There you go.
But it's not a violation of the law.
But
if you're going to hire somebody, it has to go out to the community.
What I just said is I talked to somebody up here that's a retired CPA.
Okay.
That is extremely experienced on QuickBooks.
Okay. Why ain't they in the office?
And that's why I'm bringing it up today. I talked to her yesterday. I've actually talked to her a few times in the last couple of weeks. It's taken some convincing to actually get her to volunteer to do this.
Okay.
But she's willing to come in, and she said she could get these QuickBooks straightened up within a matter of a week or two.
Okay. Call her tonight when you get home. Say, darling, bring it. Come on down.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Not if it's somebody who's here before that,
She's never been worked for TWSD.
okay, because
It's Renee's job to pick.
I knew who you were talking about, but I wasn't going to throw a name out.
But, you know,
You need to go through Renee, that's her job. That's right.
well,
We're not hiring. You need someone to come
we
in.
need
and-
somebody to fix this.
Okay,
That's
bring
Every
her
one
in.
of these highlighted items here
Yeah,
on this profit and loss statement are errors.
bring
That was
her
pointed
in.
out.
Give her a month to fix it.
And, you know, the biggest error that I'm seeing, or the biggest red flag that I'm seeing right here, is that in May, our income in QuickBooks went from 67,000 to 37,000 in June. These are numbers I got from Ruby at Roundabout. This is a report that you can get right off of our QuickBooks.
Crap in is crap out.
Correct, and it needs to be corrected.
Yes, sir.
How else?
That's right.
How else can we operate without knowing what our finances are?
Well, you
I
hired
agree.
Brad, he can tell you.
Pardon me?
I said, you hired Brad, Brad can't tell you what the situation is?
What was that again? I didn't hear you.
I said, you hired Brad, does he not know the situation?
I'm not exactly sure what your question is.
He doesn't know where we're at on QuickBooks or anything, Brad, when he left, did he not know?
Apparently not.
Oh,
He was never trained.
I thought he was the QuickBooks guy.
Well, he's supposed to be.
Oh,
He was never trained.
You know, but see, done.
I'm all for free, but it's hard to hold anybody accountable when you're asking to volunteer, right?
Well,
that's right.
We need a professional. We
Yes.
gotta get this straightened out.
I'd like to get somebody in here right away. I don't care if they're hired or they volunteer, you know, but this person actually has QuickBooks experience. Most of these resumes here that we have so far, they don't have any QuickBooks experience.
Still Renee's job.
So anyway,
Any idea what that would cost to outsource that? Sorry, you said you were waiting for bids, or they were going to present a bid. Do you have any clue? Yeah.
I asked him, he could not give me a number. But he said he will give me a number when he has the proposal for us.
so
To present next.
but they,
Wouldn't it be better to have somebody on the outside clean up all this mess and get it right?
Yeah.
And then maybe bring somebody in to take over.
What Spanky is trying to do is get somebody in here and start working on it now. The process to get a hired
takes
company
months.
will take you several months to accomplish.
And we can't go several months.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, but I would still go the other route and have the treasurer accumulate these bids and get the IPR
And
out there.
Exactly.
Get somebody on the
What?
outside to do this.
You know, bring the volunteer in, but get the IPI out there so that you can get the bids.
Let me compare the electric bill, why we look for an employee.
Thank you.
What is the problem?
There is one issue though with bringing somebody outside contracted to do it, to work in the office. It violates the union contract.
Well, they don't have
You're not hiring; they're volunteering.
No, I mean if you were to hire someone.
No, if
you were to contract out our bookkeeping in the office, that violates the union contract. We cannot contract somebody that is on the
you can
approved.
hire a CPA from the outside, and the union can't say a damn thing about it.
Right.
Well,
Now, if you hire somebody to take the accounting position, then you got an issue.
And Brad's position.
And Brad's position.
That's
Just leave
that's
the
the
position.
point I'm trying to make.
Well,
leave the position.
leave those positions unfilled now.
Okay. Anyway,
Or fill it with a volunteer.
we'll table that issue. We'll table that agenda item.
No.
No.
Free can't.
We got agenda item number 8, discuss approve hiring an investigative accountant to look into the books. No, we were talking about hiring somebody temporary, that's why I asked you to get on the wrong.
That still requires an IPR.
Yep.
Yeah, then table it.
And actually, in all actuality, and you know, Rick, you'll agree with me, Clark, you know, you guys have been through the audit process. That's exactly what our annual audit is. It's an investigative.
It's what it's supposed to be.
That's exactly what it is. So, I don't know who brought this item. I believe it was Renee requested it, and tried to explain to her that what the audit process is, and that's our annual audit is a forensic audit. It goes on for 4 months, and they look at everything. They look at all our invoices. They look at our payroll. They look at all our expenses. They look at our policies, procedures. They look at the bank account. They look at everything. Everything. So
We just got to get them in here earlier so they can get done earlier, and we can get the paperwork to the state earlier.
Started in May this year.
I know we did, ma'am.
This year, we may want to start in December of this year.
I understand.
So anyway, we'll table this item, and now we're going to move on to old business. Discuss approve options for moving forward with petition to 12th District Court to appoint vacant director positions for TWSC. We've actually approved the attorney already to petition the court to appoint a new director.
I'd like to make a comment.
As long as we pay them, she will move forward with it.
I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Okay. Nothing was being done to fill a crew's seat. We had a lot of jailhouse lawyers and wannabe legal scholars and a bunch of blowhards telling us what the law was. I went down to the court and talked to the clerk of the court. I said, what we're faced with is a no-brainer. We just need the judge to appoint somebody. We have a couple of applicants. But they told me we have to petition the court, and you can't do that without an attorney. So I called around and looking for an attorney that deals with this kind of law. And I talked to a gentleman named Matt Wade, and before anybody says I did this unilaterally, I paid him out of my own pocket, so I can retain legal counsel as long as I'm paying for it. Nobody's got anything to say about it. But I explained our situation to him. He said, "Yeah, that's true. You do have to have an attorney to do that through the courts." And we talked for quite a while, and we talked about pratfalls and things to look out for and whatnot. But he said that it was probably something that would be a no-brainer once it got started. And he said he would do it for us for $3,000. And the general manager and Spanky knew that I did that. And we sat in the office one day to make a conference call to the attorney up in Albuquerque. And I thought it was about a personnel issue. And Spanky threw that out there. She needs to get right on this and get it going. Well, I guarantee that the Rhodey Law Firm has probably already charged us more than $3,000 just for that phone call and the action they took afterwards. So I wanted to present an option. I know that we have a retainer with them, and I know that we're in touch with them right now, but I don't know that they have sole and exclusive rights to represent us in every single thing.
How do the courts feel about out-of-town lawyers versus local lawyers?
I brought that up. Uh, the, the local courts here, the smaller courts, the district courts, sometimes don't appreciate big city lawyers coming in. They think that they're being looked down upon. This gentleman, Matt Wade, worked in this court for 5 years. He knows all the judges. He's got an outstanding rapport with them. So that was another positive, of going with him. He knows the system. He knows the judges. He can work it through the system. He's here. He's in Alamogordo. You wouldn't have to travel down from Albuquerque. So I think the board should have voted on how we wanted to go forward with this. And I
actually did
when was that?
last meeting.
Was I here?
Yeah, I believe you were.
I don't recall us talking about
It was either last meeting or the meeting before when it came up. This is not the first time this came up. This is actually put on here to be an update for people. I will say that we have a retainer agreement with Samantha Holtz at the Rhodey Law Firm as our general counsel. She's our general counsel. You just mentioned that you went to this other attorney and you paid him on your own. When you paid him on your own, you created a conflict of interest.
No, I didn't.
He's trying to save money so that we don't spend a fortune.
I get it.
That's what I'm talking about. Spanky, you don't know the law. You claim you did, but you're full of shit. You don't know. You don't know how to apply the law. I talked to the attorney. We discussed that. I was paying for consultation. I was not paying for him to represent TWSD. You made it clear, if we decided to go with him, his retainer would be from TWSD. So don't sit there and preach the law to me when you don't know what you're talking about.
And all I'm doing is stating.
No, I'm sitting here. I know what you're doing.
We have a retainer agreement with Samantha Holtz as general counsel.
Is it exclusive?
Yes.
Well,
No.
until I see it, I think
It's a general contract.
No, you can be a little. I've been civil with you, Ed. You can be civil with me. Even though.
Well, so how much is each of them gonna cost? He brought this up so we could see which is gonna be the better route to take. If they said somebody local is gonna be better than bringing them all the way from Albuquerque and them charging time, they'll have to stay in a hotel or whatever.
To file a petition, you don't even. You can email the petition then. That's how everything's been emailed to PRC, all the other courts. They email it in. The only time they actually show up in a court is that they have to.
And that's what the court said, is a lawyer has to be there. That is exactly what the court said.
That's not what that's not what the attorney told us the other day, and that was there. So
that was never brought up.
I just asked her if she could move forward with it.
You asked
You
her
were there.
if she'd seen the documents she sent. She said, no, but I'm going to go ahead and hang up on
I haven't sent it. Those were documents pertaining to a personnel issue. That you were in the call. You know that.
I was in the call.
Okay.
My recollection of what was transpired differs from yours, so I'm not going to argue with you about it.
Okay. Wow.
Ed, how many hours of courtroom experience do you have?
I couldn't even guess. I had a 30-year career in law enforcement. I spent a lot of time in the courts. I spent a lot of time working with attorneys, preparing for cases, doing investigative work. So a lot of hours.
No, so,
What?
so that's a criminal court. That
No,
wasn't.
I was also a private investigator for 5 years, and I worked with the civil side of it also. We also had civil hearings while I was still a deputy. So the majority of it was criminal, but I've got experience on both sides of the aisle. I'm not an attorney, but I've got a lot of time working with judges and lawyers and sitting in the courtroom. Why are you laughing? I don't understand.
I'm not the one up there. You go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
So, Ed, are you making a motion or?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I had an option to have this done cheaper and maybe more efficient than hiring a firm from Albuquerque to do it.
We already have them hired.
Yes, but are they qualified to represent TWSD in the 12th District Court dealing with this situation?
One piece of paper.
Yes, ma'am. But if you don't fill the damn petition out correctly and you get filed where it's supposed to, and it doesn't matter. Comes from Albuquerque down here to do that, whether it's done via the internet, whatever. I want to know if the attorneys that we currently have under lock and key, which that's not the case, they are not specialists in every field.
Well, let me explain a little bit to you about the Rhodey Law Firm. They've been a law firm. They're actually the second oldest law firm in the state of New Mexico.
Okay.
They've been a law firm in the state of New Mexico since 1890.
Can you answer my question,
they
sir?
They have over 60 attorneys.
That's fine.
And
Is one of those 50 attorneys a specialist in this particular item?
Yes. Samantha Holt.
Okay. You're the acting chairman right now. You have the authority to call that attorney and put him on it.
I have. Ed was in on that call. So was Renee.
Okay. So why are we discussing this? There's nothing to update. You got it on here, discuss and approve.
So it's basically just to update y'all.
Okay?
To know
it should have been listed as discuss or update, not discuss and approve.
It's got discuss.
I understand, sir. I'm just making a point.
All right.
So it's a dead issue.
So, moving on. We have one last agenda item.
You're up, Tony.
Yes, fixing to be up. Actually, Nina. To discuss, approve, disapprove, extending DGI High Country Lounge lease. Original 90-day lease was approved at the May 28th meeting, I believe. If I remember correct, though, that current extension's on September 1st.
Yeah, through September 1st. Yeah.
Yeah. So, y'all have.
Well, have you heard anything about the agreement with TDC and
still working on it
with the attorneys?
And if we get our attorneys paid, get work on it.
So can I just make a request?
Yes.
It's super hard for me to plan things on a 3 month. Do we have any idea? This has been now for at least 6 months, correct?
I asked the attorney when we had the conference call for a timeline. She said she should be able to finish it in 3 months. It looked like she's going to do that.
So
and it basically, it's trying to get information out of the state of Mexico.
So my request at this point is, can we do a 1-year extension? That way we don't have to come every 3 months and bring this all back up. And if something changes with the agreement with TDC and with the attorneys, we can always bring it back up.
Even if we do find something out from the attorneys on moving forward on this, more likely it's going to have to change anyway, right?
Right.
So
I'm just asking for me to be able to plan with advertising, with events. I need to have a substantial amount of time, especially with advertising. I can't get advertising for 3 months at a time.
Don?
Is what this law firm is trying to investigate for us with the state, is it to physically transfer the property to TDC, or is it just, seems like it'd be a lot simpler if you just gave them a $1 a year lease? That would solve both problems.
They're actually looking at both options. To be honest with you, Don, I don't know which ways, legally the best route to go for TWSD or for TDC. I really like this to make this work. We've gone over this quite a bit, 6-8 months ago, 7 months ago. All I can say is they're still trying to get information out of the state, so we haven't gotten an update from it's actually Jenica Jacoby, and yes, we do have a retainer agreement with her too.
If you go
Every
back
time
and
we
read,
do something with one of our attorneys, it's a different retainer agreement.
if you go back and read the deed when all these assets were transferred from TPOA to TWSD, there was a clause in there that if they were sold or were not used for the intended purposes, they'd go back to Timberon Property Owners Association.
Yeah.
That's
But
in the
there's
transfer deed.
no TPOA.
There actually is.
Virgil Beagle would disagreed with you.
Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
Yes.
Virgil is no longer capable of
He'd have to yell
agreeing
real
or
loud
disagreeing.
right now.
Dwayne is
That's
the
where
one.
Dwayne's taken over, and that's why this board has faced probably millions of dollars in legal fees over the years. That's why that was their intention to bankrupt the board.
And that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Those legal fees over the years. That's why TWSD for a small water district has such high legal bills. That's a big reason for it right there.
Well, I think the board has a request from Nina.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to the subject, I need a motion to.
Okay, well, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we approve extending the DTI High Country Lounge lease for 1 year.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, yes.
I have it now. So, I believe that was our last agenda item. Any questions from anybody in the audience? Y'all had a bunch of questions.
But thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you guys for attending. Thank you.
Do I have a second on the motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? I have it.
Time to burn another cigarette. Oxygen's wearing out.
How do we just talk about that? Oh, that's why I'm an asshole. No, because I, yeah.